All right, we got the pleasure of having Rob Craig on. Did I say it right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's a pretty straightforward name.
exactly.
Um, and Phil's back on from to help kind of go through your collection. You guys kind of know each other, right?
We
Yeah,
do. I actually hired Phil when he was worked at Cavalier Cards. He came
Oh,
in
how
and
cool is that?
I was like, "Hey, you seem like you're a good guy. You want to work here?" So
yeah.
That's awesome.
I worked with Rob for what, 5 years?
yeah, at least
Oh,
Years? Yeah.
oh wow. So are you in Charlottesville, Rob?
just outside of Charlottesville. Yeah.
Okay, nice. And how did you get it? How did you become or maybe a Virginia? I don't even know. Are you a Virginia fan first and then a collector, or
Oh,
did it go the other way around?
definite Virginia fan first. So um, it really goes back to my mother. Actually, she was a huge Virginia basketball fan with Ralph Sampson, and I
Okay.
just remember her screaming for Ralph and stuff like that. And then I was never a big sports fan really until I was about 10, 11 years old. And the first football game I ever watched was the 1990 game against Georgia Tech when we were
Oh
number one in the
wow.
country, the full
Right.
system game. And I remember bawling my eyes out when that kick went through, and my dad going, "You don't even like Virginia. What's your problem?" I was like, "I like them now." And after that, it became an obsession. I mean, I had women's basketball season tickets with my parents for the Don Staley years and throughout
Oh
the Wendy
wow.
Palmer Tour Super years. Went to my first men's game when Bruce Hornsby and Woody Harrelson were
Yeah, the
actually the
black and
celebrity
yeah, the
guest
Pepsi.
coaches.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So that was really cool. It was actually Woody was the first autograph I ever got in person, but it was just those little things that helped build my fandom. And I didn't actually go to the school, but I've been going to games, season tickets, been
Yeah.
going to men's basketball games for as long as I can remember. So
That's awesome. I mean, we find some of the biggest fans don't actually didn't go to UVA. That's the coolest part, right? It's like you just latch on to the sports, and the next thing you know, you're part of the community, which is really
exactly.
cool. Yeah, we had Phil Wendell, who runs ACAC, and he came on and talked about he kind of lucked into moving to Charlottesville, and then Ralph Sampson signed that day, and then now he's like, arguably the biggest fan in UVA history, which is like
Yeah,
awesome.
I mean,
Uh,
everyone knows Phil and knows his seats at the
yeah,
basketball games for sure.
yeah, for sure. So walk us through right behind you. You've got the Chris Long jersey. That thing is cool.
Yeah, it is. So that was a very fortunate find on Craigslist. It was actually a regular customer of ours came into the shop back when I was at Cavalier Cards and was like, "Hey, did you see that Chris jersey on Craigslist?" And I was like, "No." And so he told me about it. He said he wasn't interested in it for some reason, and so so I messaged the seller and I was like, "Hey, I can't really see any good pictures of it." I thought it was just a game issued Chris Long jersey because the rumor that I've always heard was Howie and Chris took all of his jerseys when he left. So I asked the woman, I was like, does it show any game use? Does it have any hit marks? Does it have any repairs? Things like that. And she's like, I'm not sure what you mean, but here's some spots on it. And I looked, and sure enough, it was like this maroon paint, where it looks like from a Virginia Tech helmet or something.
That's cool.
So um, I actually met her in the a grocery store parking lot, pouring down rain. I'm looking the thing over, and I'm like, "This is 100% the real McCoy." I was like, "How did you get it?" And she said it was her husband's ex-wife had won it at a Virginia VAF auction and paid some
Oh,
ungodly amount for it, like thousands, of course. And she's like, "We just want it out of the house." So, needless to say, I paid much less than that for it, but I
that's
was very
awesome.
fortunate to get it, and it's one of my prized items for sure.
That's really cool. All right, so maybe walk us through a few of your items. I know you've got a lot. Uh,
What would you like to see? UVA stuff or NFL stuff?
whatever you think is cool. How about that?
Well, this is one of the more historically cool pieces. This is Mike Groh's jersey from
Oh wow,
1995. He
that's
was
awesome.
wearing when they beat Florida State for the first time ever. And he
That's
and his
awesome.
dad Al signed it. So that's a pretty historically cool piece.
It is. That is very cool.
This is one of my favorite jerseys. Good old Lundy.
Yeah,
Picked that up
Wally.
at one of the spring equipment sales. But I just love running back jerseys because they have so much wear and tear on them, all the repairs, hit marks,
Hey,
and to
he
get
was.
the ACC touchdown leader of all time. Thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great one, Wally Lundy.
And this is a neat one too. This is from the Oahu Bowl, George Welsh's last game. Matt Schaub's jersey.
The collar on that is like
Oh, I
crazy.
love this style.
Yeah,
I know you guys were mentioning with the last collector you had on the collar on the basketball jerseys with the V's.
right.
It's so cool. I wish the football team would go back to something like this.
Yeah, it was inspired by this Reebok jersey, so they made the basketball one kind of look like it.
And then kind of along the same lines, this is from the '98 Peach Bowl, Monsanto Pope, who also played with the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, that patch is cool, huh? Big.
Yeah, the bowl patches are really cool. Not easy jerseys to find, but and here's one other. Actually, where's the bold one? I've got way too many. Here's the Lundy from the Micron PC Bowl,
Oh wow.
and it's actually inscribed the Blue Turf Blues, and it's got his stats on it from the game and dated.
Where'd you get that from?
Um, it was one of the auction houses on eBay, one of the big auction guys. It wasn't Probstein or that. I think it was BE Collect. I found some stuff from them over the years. I'd say half the battle, and I know Phil can relate to this too, is just tracking down the jerseys. It's not like you go into a Walmart, go into a trading card shop, and find stacks and racks of jerseys. It's it's tough to track them down. I mean, half the fun is just finding these things.
Right. You
So
don't know where they end up at the end of the day, right? Because the players can take what they want, and then the
exactly.
rest is like owned, state
Right.
owned, right? Then it's like Gov Deals maybe has some, or they
And that's why
somehow
I'm
end
very
up in
fortunate that
auctions.
like
Yeah.
right. That's where I'm very fortunate that like Matt Altoff with the in the equipment room has done these spring sales. That's
Yeah.
just opened a door for me and so many other collectors. So I mean, he's a terrific guy, and I mean, it's just little things like that are really cool for us collectors.
Yeah. Brings makes it accessible at least.
Oh, 100%. This I think you'll like.
It's pretty cool.
Oh wow.
Matt Schaub. It was worn
Texans.
on Monday
Oh,
Night Football when they played the New England Patriots and Tom Brady.
let's say, how many picks did he throw that game?
I think only one. The whole got blown out. But so the next one is kind of a combo piece. So another Schaub jersey, but Schaub was actually wearing this for his final start with the Houston Texans when he got injured and then subsequently benched. Well, he got sacked and injured on the play by this guy right here.
Oh wow, that's cool.
And this was the jersey that Chris was wearing when he sacked him.
That's awesome.
And this is also the jersey that Chris was wearing when he got ejected for the only time ever against the Carolina Panthers when he threw a punch. But it's pretty gnarly with all the hit
Yeah, that
marks,
is.
stains.
That shows some good wear.
Yeah, it definitely smelled a little when I got it. Here's a nice old school one.
Wow, that is cool. Chris
And
Slade,
again, I mean, just
all-time great.
absolutely hammered with all the repairs, hit marks on it. But Chris was one of my first favorite players since I really started following UVA in 1990.
All right.
Um, he was huge. Herman, Sean, Terry Kirby. I mean, those guys, I mean, they're iconic in the Virginia football program. But here's my personal favorite player of all time.
Nice. Oh, Tiki Barber Giants. What year is that one?
It's from 2003.
So how did
And
you feel when he left and then they won
Man, it killed me. I mean, I'm a Redskin fan, but we always joked. In fact, when I was in college, my roommate was like, whenever you're watching Giants and Redskins, it's go Tiki, no Tiki, go Tiki, no Tiki, and it's just hilarious. But you know, my future wife, the first gift she ever gave to me for my birthday was tickets to go to my first Redskins game to see Tiki play in his final regular season game.
That's cool.
And of course, he went off that game for like 234 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns. It was crazy, but such a thrill to be able to see him in person, especially one of his last games of all time.
Yeah, by his last year, he had that funky grip on the ball, right? Like that
He
he
did,
was.
yeah. He was holding it up here
Yeah,
because he had that big, bad fumbling problem when he was holding it like
yeah,
this. So yeah, he had to completely change up his game. But my bucket list, my grail item that I've never been able to get is definitely a Tiki Virginia jersey.
yeah. That'd be
I
cool.
talked to a few people that had them. They're not letting them go. So cross my fingers one day one will turn out.
Yeah, that is a grail. Would you
Yeah.
say most of your collection is football?
Yeah, in fact, I counted today. I've got about 60 football jerseys, NFL and college, and then about 30 basketball, NBA and UVA, and then about another dozen baseball jerseys.
Wow, that's awesome. All right,
So,
cool.
Is
yeah.
everything? Are they all UVA guys? Is that the only?
Um, Mostly either UVA guys or I've got some Washington Redskins players. Like I just picked up a nice Pierre Garcon and a Santana Moss. And baseball, I'm a big Mets fan, which of course you know, Phil.
Yeah,
So I've got a bunch of Mets jerseys. Actually just picked up the David Wright game worn jersey this week. So
that's your guy.
that's my guy.
That's cool.
But here's another one that just is absolutely destroyed. Thomas Jones, Arizona Cardinals jersey. This thing is just
Thomas
obliterated.
Jones. Wow, I like that.
But
I
yeah,
always
I
thought
mean,
the Chicago, if you squinted, the Chicago one looks like a UVA one. So pretend.
that's another one I would love to find is a Thomas Jones Bears jersey, but
Yeah,
I've never seen one come up for sale. And that's what I was saying. It's just like half the fun of getting of this jersey hobby is just trying to chase them down and find them. It's pretty intoxicating when you actually are able to find them. But here's another all-time great running back.
wow, Terry Kirby. That's cool. Miami Dolphins.
And changing sports for a second, here's one I know you'll appreciate.
I like it.
There
Justin.
you go.
With good old COA to go along with it. So, but here's actually the one that got it going. My first ever jersey,
Oh wow, Harold Dean.
Harold Dean.
Yeah, that's a great one.
So the story with this is back in 1995, my aunt wanted to get me an official UVA basketball jersey. And so she called various people in the athletics department, and we're told no, they don't sell basketball jerseys, but you could call the equipment room and they might sell you an old player used one, which of course nowadays would never in a million years happen. But so she got the phone number for the equipment manager, walked straight into U-Haul, and they opened a big trunk and they said, well, who would you like? And she's like looking through the jersey. She's like, I know I've heard of this Dean guy. Well, can I get that? $30. And she was able to buy this.
That is wild.
And the
Was
kicker was they said, come back the next day. We'll have something for your nephew. He comes back the next day and they've got a T-shirt signed by the entire basketball team that they gave me as well.
that's so cool.
So
That was. Do you remember who the equipment manager was back then? Was it?
I have no idea. I never actually met him. It was just my aunt. So,
Okay.
but yeah, that's one of those items that no matter what someone would offer me, it's never going anywhere. It's too much
Yeah,
sentimental value.
that's a cool one. I mean, I'm sure Harold Dean would like that back.
Oh yeah. Here's another nice UVA basketball jersey. I know you were talking about the AN1 style. I just picked this up about a month ago. Little Todd Billett,
Oh wow, that's cool.
but I don't
We
know.
called we called him Toe Billet because no D, but whatever.
One heck of an outside shooter, and my gosh, was he clutch.
Yeah, he. It's a shame they put him at point guard, but
Yeah,
he was a great shooter.
ugly jerseys though.
I kind of like him now. Now that I
Oh,
look back
really?
on it, I kind of like him. I was thinking we should remake those, but put Ty, Dre, Kyle, and do the current guys in that style and
And
see
himself.
yeah, see how they do.
They're definitely.
That'd be interesting.
What's up, gents? I'm gonna turn my mic off so I don't annoy you guys walking.
No, what's up,
I'm
Mark?
sorry, my video off, so I don't annoy the
Nice.
shit out of you.
You good?
How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, man.
Hanging in there.
Rob is just walking us through his amazing collection. It's pretty cool. We've seen a bunch of football jerseys. Now he's getting to some NBA jerseys.
Here's a couple of Joes.
Oh, nice. Oh, Brooklyn. I like the BKL one. That one's cool. Full Brooklyn Nets. That's a lot. I don't remember that one.
Yeah, so there. I think they're statement jersey, and then it's got this down here at the bottom. But
So that's
what's it?
What did it say at the bottom?
It says Brooklyn Unite.
it's weird. It's got pinstripes. I don't think I've seen
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they wore it much this year. I know it's an alternate style. That's what part of the reason I got it, because I hadn't seen one like that. Here's another UVL.
TW is gonna go buy one. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, John Crotty. That's sick.
And it's got the 9/11 patch on it.
That's really cool.
And Phil, I know you like this one.
I remember when you got that one.
Yeah, that's sweet.
You freaked out when you got that one.
Bobcats,
Of course
40.
I freaked out.
Sean
This was
Singletary.
the year after Sean graduated.
Sorry,
I
Jeff.
mean,
That's really cool.
That is nice.
It's an old school Bobcats. That's cool.
You can tell that's the game worn style because they had to wrap the arc on his name. It's not straight across.
yeah. It's so long.
Oh. That makes it even cooler now that it's obviously there's no Bobcats jerseys anymore. Like that's
Yeah,
Right.
that's a good one.
And here's good old Mike.
Oh my god.
Mike Scott.
It's from the playoffs, and I'm not sure what year, but it's worn games 1 and 2.
And there's a black patch on there. Strap.
Yeah, some memorial patch. I'm not sure. In fact, I tried to look it up not too long ago, figure out what it was for, but I wasn't able to.
That's a good one.
Hello?
And Roger.
Ooh, nice. Roger Mason.
TWs are gonna when we get off the call, gonna make you offers on all these jerseys now.
Right.
Here is a unique one. Like, I was very lucky to find this. Sammy Zaglinski.
Wow.
This is for the Niagara. I don't know the nickname. It was, I think, a Canadian basketball league team that he played for.
That's pretty cool. That's random.
Yeah.
When did he play at Virginia?
Sammy was there from
Leto to DB.
the first year of Tony Bennett.
Yeah.
First or second year of Tony Bennett, he graduated. Because he missed most of, I think, his first year with an injury and had to redshirt. So he was there for 5 years. Here's another basketball sharpshooter.
Nice
Keith
Keith
Friel.
Friel. That's
What's
another
his first name?
He was a transfer from Notre Dame.
Oh wow.
He was playing 2000, 2001.
That's another cool Reebok style that doesn't get appreciated.
Any orange basketball one I love. I love the orange basketball jerseys.
The warm up, that's cool. Old school.
Jeff Jones, the original, the coach, Jeff Jones.
Wow, yeah. That is awesome. That's the warm up from AD, what, 182?
Yeah, I believe so. And he liked the orange jerseys. Here's one you don't see very often. Was worn during the throwback game against North Carolina for ESPN. Virginia wore their old the
Oh,
Ralph Sampson style jerseys just for this game.
yeah, I
So
remember
Devin
that.
Smith,
That's really cool. Shout out Devin Smith. He was on our podcast a little bit ago.
great player from that tiny little junior college in Kansas, right?
That's right.
Here's a infamous warm up. This was Justin's warm up that he was wearing when he broke his thumb against Louisville.
Wow, that's cool. I mean, not the breaking of the thumb part.
No, definitely not the breaking of the thumb part.
It just cost us a Final
Although it was
Four.
kind of fitting that his last basket at JPJ was off of an alley-oop dunk. So, as only
There's that.
Justin could do. And then switching sports, here's old school Sean Doolittle jersey.
Very
Then
cool.
you got that. Sweet. I like that.
Yeah, that was at that surprise baseball sale that you and I didn't know anything about.
That's right. Yeah, they just had them up there for sale. That was crazy.
And Coach O'Connor. I wish they still put the nameplates on the back.
Yeah, they stopped doing that a couple of years ago, or like 10 years ago, I guess now.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Cavaliers in cursive. That's cool.
And I've got some girls basketball jerseys too. Here's Tora Suber.
That's a good one.
But football jerseys are definitely the easiest to find, easiest to get. Basketball, and I know you guys can speak on this too. Trying to track down any UVA basketball jerseys is next to impossible. I've emailed coaches over the years, equipment managers, and stonewalled every single time. It's definitely you learn that you get way more rejection emails than you do acceptance emails when it comes to jerseys.
What's your favorite story behind one of the jerseys?
I mean, I think definitely the Harold Dean one is what my aunt got was cool, and same thing with the Chris Long. I'll tell you, it's not necessarily a jersey, but the only time I've ever gotten an item directly from a player, I was at the Belk Bowl a couple years ago, and I was lucky enough to be sitting in the very front row. And I started thinking that when the game ends, I bet the player's going to do a victory lap. So sure enough, they do. And I'm like, I'm not going to ask a player for a jersey. That's not realistic. Maybe I can get their gloves. So Zacchaeus is going to walk him by. So I'm like, Alameda, can I get your gloves? Well, he's gone before I can even get the words out of my mouth. So then I see Juan Thornhill coming up. I'm like, okay, that'd be great if I could get his gloves because, he had a pick in that game. And I was like, hey, Juan, can I get your gloves? And he just kind of looked at me funny. He's like, do you want them? I was like, I'd love to have them. He's like, sure. So he starts ripping them off, and he's like, well, can I just give you one? I was like, I'll take what I can get, absolutely. So here's Juan Thornhill's jersey glove from the Belk Bowl.
That's cool.
Very cool.
Another cool thing is, so back during 2014, of course, Tony Bennett had his massive rise with the program. And we went on to win the ACC tournament championship and all. But so that season really meant a lot to me for a multitude of reasons. But the biggest was that year, my wife and I had been trying to get pregnant. And in the middle of that season, we had suffered a miscarriage. And it was really hard on us. And we struggled with just wondering if it was ever going to happen. But once, twice, 3 times a week, we had Virginia games to go to. And my wife was a graduate student there at the time, so she was able to get me student guest tickets. So it was like while we were there, we weren't thinking about all the bad stuff that had happened. It was just a much-needed distraction. Well, fast forward to the end of that, or the run in Greensboro, we had driven down for the game, of course. We won it. I'm not going to lie, bawled my eyes out for a bunch of different reasons when they won, especially when that moment when Justin runs over to Joe and just embraces him. That's when it just really hit me. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're actually going to win this thing. I emailed Tony Bennett afterwards, and I was like, people always say it's just a game. It doesn't really matter. Well, I was like, it is just a game, but this distraction you gave me and my wife was so needed, and we are so appreciative that you came here and what you've done for this program. And he sent me back a really nice message that was actually not a form letter or anything like that, so that meant a lot. And then about a year ago, Jeff Jones, who was on that team, I had the opportunity to meet him, and I picked up his piece of the net.
Oh wow, that's super cool.
So that, and then confetti I picked up off the floor while I was there too.
That's really cool.
Yeah, those are definitely two of the neater pieces I have with stories attached to them.
So then how do you display this stuff? It's really hard, right?
It is. It's very hard because obviously I don't have space to display 80 different jerseys.
All
So
right.
what I do have is I've got, kind of like you, I've got a frame that you can slide out, and it's a hanger, and you
Right.
can just rotate jerseys. So typically that's what I'll do. I'll hang a jersey for a few weeks, a month, 2 months. And the other thing that's nice too is you don't have to worry about any damage from all the artificial light, sunlight, making the jersey fade or anything.
All right.
But I've got a guest bedroom upstairs that is full of nothing but jerseys.
That's
Thankfully, I have
awesome.
a very understanding wife.
Yeah. I'm sure she appreciates a bunch of jerseys that you don't wear.
I've made a few bucks off some of them too, so she gets it. And plus, she's a huge UVA fan too, so she's
That's
also
great.
very vocal about letting me know if I bring something in the house she doesn't approve of. Like she's a big Chicago Cubs fan, and she got really pissed with me one time because I brought a Jeff Bagwell game worn jersey in the house, and she was like, "I hate Bagwell. I hate the Astros. Get rid of that thing."
That's great.
I sold it. I made a profit, but I got rid of it.
What about outside of jerseys? Is there anything else? Are you just a general collector of things, or is there?
you
Uh,
know, I started like a lot of collectors. I started collecting baseball cards when I was about 10, 11 years old. And that turned into cards and memorabilia. And I always kind of looked at jerseys as kind of like this mythical item that only rich people or people with connections could ever get. Um, Perfect example, like UVA, the only way you could ever get football jerseys that were worn was they had, I think it was for donors. A few times during the 1990s, you would come to, like, I don't know if it was an auction or a sale, and you would buy a gigantic box filled with randomly assorted jerseys. And it was luck of the draw who you would get.
wow,
So um, I never thought I would start collecting jerseys or anything like that until really the spring sale, the first one they had back in what, '08 or '09. And that's when I was like, hey, maybe these are a little more accessible and affordable than what I thought they might be. And then you start learning about it. You learn what to look for. You learn the photo matching of jerseys, how to determine authenticity, and it's pretty addictive.
that's really cool. We were talking about this before, but we're trying to start a little section on our site. We put it in the forums, buy, sell, trade, and then we'll hopefully with help from people like you and Phil, we can start helping people authenticate and make it a safer place, and then players can come, and if they have stuff to sell or share with fans, we can do it there. So we're working on that one for everyone watching, listening.
That's a great idea, especially the authentication thing, because the authentication of jerseys has gotten a lot better over the years. There's some really good companies out there like Migray, Panini, companies that do authenticate this stuff. But so much of the stuff is not authenticated, and you've got to do your own homework,
Yeah,
whether it's photo matching, no player characteristics, and that kind of thing. And it's very easy to get burned when you're buying stuff. And sometimes it's not even on purpose. You buy something thinking it's game worn, and it's only game issued. And the difference for people that maybe don't know that is a game worn jersey was actually at least worn on the sidelines by that player.
Right.
Game
Right.
issued means it was made for the player. They just never actually put it on.
Right. Very
But
cool.
sometimes there's just minimal, if any, difference between what a game worn jersey and a game issued jersey, especially when it's something non-contact like or minimal contact like basketball.
Right. That makes sense. Very cool. Anything else that in terms of your collection that you could share with everyone watching, listening?
One of the more unique pieces I've got is these game worn shoes from Anthony Gill, but here's his water bottle too from the NCAA tournament.
That's cool. Change it up a little bit.
Yeah. Don't ask why. It's unique. I didn't pay anything for it, so it's a neat item to have. I don't know. I think the idea of you guys selling stuff on the side, especially connecting with athletes and buying literally directly from the source, is a really, really cool and exciting idea. I think Virginia fans are going to enjoy that.
Yeah, we hope so. We're gonna see. Be on the lookout. We'll put the link in the description below. And how could people find you in terms of? I know you sell some stuff on Facebook. Is it?
Facebook, I've actually started a group, Virginia Cavalier Collectors. If you just look us up, we're always looking for new members. Even if you just want to come and see what everybody's collecting, because people show off their items. I know you're a member. There's that. I'm on eBay. User ID is RUHOS, RUHOS. I always have some unique items up for sale, but you really have to do that. Sometimes I hate selling things, but this is not a cheap hobby. So you definitely have to sometimes make a tough decision, be like, well, I'll sell this so I can then be able to afford to buy this.
Right. And are you still working at Cavalier Cards now or no?
I'm not. I'm split two different ways at UVA. I'm doing game operations when and if there's ever games again.
Right.
Where I run scoreboards, work with TVs as far as like running timeouts, making sure we don't come back too quickly from commercials, like red shirt guy for football games who stands out in the field so they don't come back too soon from a commercial.
Right.
And I also work at the nursing school in the simulation lab where I help nursing students run these huge multi-$1,000 mannequins that can literally do almost anything a real person can do: breathe, cry, vomit. You can start an IV. And it's really interesting because I have no medical background other than the fact my wife is a nurse and a nursing instructor now at UVA. But I've always had a great appreciation for nurses and what they do and what they go through, and to have even a very small part in helping to educate them and get them ready for the real world, and especially tackle things now like COVID. It's an honor and a privilege, especially to do it at the premier nursing school in the country at UVA.
That's cool. And what about these two posters in the background? You got team celebrating Final Four.
Yeah, just
on one
canvas picture I had made of course, the best Virginia game ever, winning the national championship. And like I was saying earlier, I'm a big David Wright fan, and that's from his final game.
Very cool.
You got something that's cool on your wall. What else you got on your wall?
What else do I have on my wall?
I want a room tour real fast.
Okay. Game used base and a game used hat from David. This is pretty cool. Piece of the floor signed by Michael Jordan.
Oh, wow. That's really cool.
I forgot about that. That's sweet. You got a good deal on that too, way back when.
Yeah. Justin Harrison's rookie worn shoes and socks.
Sock.
Who got you those?
Mamdi Diakite's shoes from the Final Four.
Very cool.
Justin's shoe. Cleat. Tiki Barber wore. This is one of the largest, craziest items. It's a game-used seat bottom from the Verizon Center. with a Ovechkin signed picture on it. Tiki Barber signed Super Bowl football. The Redskin game I was actually talking to you about, this is one of the game balls signed by Tiki from that game with his
Oh,
stat.
cool.
And, of course, the tickets from that game as well.
That's really cool.
So,
Was that acquired right after the game, or was it
no, that was years after the fact.
years? Okay. He's kind of found
It's
it.
one of those that as soon as I saw it, I was like, I've got to have it. It's just got too much sentimental value.
Yeah, that connection is great. That's awesome. What about cards? What are some of the cooler cards? Do you collect a lot of UVA basketball player cards, or?
Absolutely. I've got, in fact, I don't think it's an exaggeration to say I've got the best Tiki Barber collection on the planet. I have well over 1,000 different Tiki cards, including probably 100 or so one of ones. But in addition to that,
That's cool.
Hey, we've been making new barber cards for you too.
I know, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
My bank account doesn't, but I do.
Just got another new deal with him, so they're gonna keep coming.
Nice.
And how do you generally collect cards? Is it mostly through eBay still? Is that the easiest way for people to find like one-of-one cards and rare cards?
Absolutely. eBay. Of course, I still like opening packs and boxes, although now it's pretty expensive to do so.
Yeah, no kidding.
Breaks have really become the thing in the hobby to help people basically afford this. We're in a brand new world when it comes to sports cards.
Right. If not for Phil, I would have no idea what you're talking about. But Phil introduced me to breaks. I'm like, what did I just buy? And I'm watching some guy open cards. It's so weird.
I mean, it's like, it'd be nice if jerseys took this kind of rise that sports cards are currently enjoying. Because I've never seen anything like it in my entire life. And I've been collecting cards since 1990, and this is unprecedented. I mean, you've got stuff that literally 6 months ago was selling for $100, $200 that is now going for $2,000.
Yeah,
and
that's wild.
in some cases, way more than that. Of course, the big story about the Mike Trout card that just went for $3.89 million. It wasn't too long ago that card was bought for less than $1 million. It's just absolutely wild right now.
It is. I mean, it's mind-boggling just to see these dollar figures tied to it. But I guess it is. I mean, it's looked at as an investment versus a hobby.
And I mean, I love collecting cards, but at the same time, I don't get the same kind of excitement that I do when I get one of these jerseys. Because I mean, a card, maybe if it's signed, the athlete held it in their hands for 5 seconds. If it's a jersey card, okay, it's got a tiny little square of a jersey they wore
for 2 seconds.
This hung in their locker. This is what they put on. They put their blood, sweat on it. I mean, it's a piece. Every single one of these things is a piece of history. So
Right.
I think that's just a lot cooler than cards, but unfortunately they haven't caught up to cards as far as value. Although, of course, jerseys can go for astronomical prices. Like I just got outbid on a Ty Jerome's debut jersey on NBA auction.
By TW.
Yeah, but I mean, no.
Might have been, and if so, I'm sorry I bid you up.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, all of that stuff is so, yeah. I mean, the NBA auction stuff is global, right? So that like you're literally competing with pretty much everyone. Versus eBay, I feel like you can still find some hidden gems in there. Or
it's tough, but yeah, I mean, like the Mike Rowe jersey that I found that on eBay, and I gave less than $200 for it. And I mean, me personally, it's worth a heck of a lot more than $200 to have his jersey from when they beat Florida State.
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, that's a steal. I mean, also, and again, it's kind of like it's great for people that are fans of it, but there are probably not too many of them, I'd imagine. They at least understand the value of it.
Exactly. It's more of a niche market. I mean, sports cards, obviously, there's hundreds of thousands, millions of collectors that collect sports cards, and there's a much, much smaller piece of the pie there that collect game use stuff because obviously it's not as widely available. It's a lot more expensive. Well, at least it used to be a lot more expensive. So yeah, but like any other kind of collectible, you got to ride the roller coaster as far as
Yeah.
prices and market goes, that kind of thing.
I feel like the gambling aspect of cards is like definitely a component that drives it a little more, right? When you're
100%.
cracking open packs and trying to go for some crazy one of one thing.
Yep.
Like with Jersey, you hunt it down, you pay for what it's worth, and then it's kind of like it's no like, oh, maybe I'll hit this random thing.
Right.
It just, I guess the thrill is probably different for, especially I'm thinking kids. Go to Walmart and you buy a pack and you pull a $500 card. It's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I mean, and that's the thing too. It's jerseys, you know what you're getting. Now
Right.
there are some companies out there that do mystery boxes. They sell things where you get a mystery game used bat or mystery game used jersey and things like that. But typically, the bad ones in those don't outweigh the good ones. So I've kind of stayed away from those. Plus, I mean, if I'm going to spend that much for an item, like I think the mystery bats usually sell for like $200. I
Right.
could get a nice bat for $200 of someone I do want.
Right.
So
You don't put any risk that way.
exactly.
Low key, we were debating on doing mystery boxes for ours, just for like hoodies and some of the limited edition items that we have
But that's
to
cool
turn them
because then you
into.
got the gambling aspect of like opening a
Yeah,
card. So
yeah, we were gonna try that here at some point where it's like you don't know what you're gonna get. You might get a super rare box logo hoodie that only a handful versus the standard UVA color versus like I don't know. We've been toying with that idea. Maybe we'll do it one day.
maybe once you get a bigger collection of game use stuff from all your guys, you can start doing mystery boxes of like shoes,
Yeah, mystery,
something like that. Mystery shoes.
mystery anything for whatever reason. I guess from opening cards is like interesting to me.
Well, no,
Just
it's
because
like you said, it's the gambling
blind
aspect.
box.
That's
Yeah,
what draws people.
yeah, it's fun.
It's no different than there was a collector years ago that used to come in the shop who desperately wanted a Vince Carter rookie card. We're like, just buy one. It's $100. No, he refused to buy one. Instead, he probably dropped $1,500 opening box after box after box, trying to pull it, which he never did.
That's crazy.
But again, it's the gambling aspect.
Yeah,
People,
it's fun.
yeah.
That is really cool. All right. Well, we appreciate you taking the time to go over it. Maybe we'll catch up with you in the future with whatever else you're picking up and looking at.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and definitely
Absolutely.
great work with the site, and to keep all those fans updated as well.
And we have one last. We always ask your Mount Rushmore, and for you, you can do football and basketball. Who's your Mount Rushmore? Let's start with football.
Um, that's tough. It's very tough because I think just like basketball, you've got Ralph Sampson, who is like head and shoulder above everyone else. In football, I think there's a guy that's head and shoulders above everyone, and that's Bill Dudley. But of course, playing in a completely different era,
Right.
it's always forgotten. But I mean, you're talking about a guy that's in the College Football Hall of Fame and the NFL Hall of Fame. So of course, Dudley's got to be there. Um, if you're going to allow me to put a coach, George Welsh has to be there for
Fair.
everything he did for the program. And then I'm going to put Tiki, and I'm biased because I know Thomas broke all of his records, but I love Tiki. So Tiki's on there. And I think Chris Long, too. I think Chris, for everything he did at UVA, all his honors, and then what he accomplished in the NFL, too, because you can't discount that. He's on there. And maybe Matt Schaub or Sean Moore. I mean, I think you've got to have a quarterback, and it's got to be one of those two guys.
I like it. And what about basketball? So
Um,
Ralph's got to be on there, right?
right. Ralph, probably Sean Singletary, Bryant Stith, and I hate to go against DeAndre or Ty, but when your most outstanding player of the Final Four, you hit the big 3 free throws. I think Kyle Guy's got to be there. I mean,
That guy.
you got to have somebody from that national championship team on there, and I think,
Yeah,
in my
I think so.
opinion, it's Kyle. And
And the
then
last one.
it comes down to either Malcolm Brogdon or Joe Harris. And I know I'm leaving out a ton of amazing guys like Jeff Lamb, Wally Walker, Buzzy Wilkinson. I didn't see him play. I know they're legends. I know they have all kinds of records. But just purely going off the guys I've seen play, I think Phil alluded to this. Malcolm was just he was like Tim Duncan. He was the big fundamental.
Oh,
He
yeah.
just did
Very
everything
steady.
quietly. He did everything great, and he did everything the right way. Joe was more flashy. Justin, oh my gosh, Justin was as flashy as he would come. I don't necessarily think he's on the Mount Rushmore, but if there was anybody worth the price of admission every night, it was Justin Anderson. But I think you go with Malcolm Brogdon. Again, ACC tournament title, an Elite Eight, Sweet 16, all he accomplished with the program too. Yeah,
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much, man. We appreciate it, and
I really
we'll
enjoyed
we'll
it.
put all the info below.
All right,
Absolutely, man.
thank you guys.
Yep. Take care.